Well, hi guys, and welcome to my latest Call of Duty Modern Warfare video. This video is going to be a little bit different, and what I want to cover in this is everything that I think Infinity Ward have still got wrong with the game. We're, 2 months into the game after launch now, and there are still so many bugs, so many things that need fixing. It is truly disappointing, and I really hope that Infinity Ward do kind of pay attention to things like this, where there are members of the community who are complaining about stuff and want to see the gameplay improved. Now, the first thing that I want to cover here is crossplay. Now, crossplay in itself is a great idea. It's wonderful being able to combine the gameplay from PlayStation, from Xbox, and from PC, so people can all play together to increase the community, and that is wonderful. It's a great concept. The problem is, you don't get a consistent gameplay experience across those platforms, especially in a PC world. You've got to understand, most PC players play with a keyboard and a mouse, and that's what they like. That's why they play games on a PC, because they like that level of control. Most PC game players also have a real high-end graphics card on there, so they can be playing their games at 140, 150 frames per second, and they have better granularity on the picture. You know, they can have true 4K video in their gameplay. All of this means you put that up against someone who's playing on an Xbox who's limited to 60 frames a second at the absolute top end, and maybe HD, because even the 4K on an Xbox One X is kind of upscaled. It's not a true 4K gaming experience. And so anyone playing on a PC, they're going to be able to see you from further out. They're going to have better color reproduction, so there's not going to be as much sort of hiding in the shadows. They're going to be able to pick you out easier. They're going to be able to see you first. Their screen is updating more frequently than yours is, so they can see you more quickly. All of this just results in it being an uneven playing field. And sure, I mean, like, you know, they try to mitigate against that by saying, well, okay, if you're playing on a PC and you want to play against other Xbox users or PlayStation users, then you've got to use a controller. Well, think about it, right? There are plenty of mods out there for PC that can spoof a controller whilst you're still using a keyboard and mouse, right? And that's going to be the default of what most people are going to do. If you want them to use a controller, they've got to go out and buy a new piece of hardware, right? And so sure, some will, but an awful lot won't. Now, on the Xbox side, you could argue, well, you can mod the Xbox the same way, and you can use the screen and keyboard and mouse in an Xbox. But to do that, you've got to go through so many hoops to get that to work, that very few people are going to do it. So the default position on the Xbox is to use the controller, or on the PlayStation. So like I say, you've just got to understand the default position of these audiences of users and how they're going to be using the controller on the game. And it's, like I say, it's just an uneven playing field. Now, this takes me on to my next subject, which is ground war. For me, I don't bother with ground war at all. The reason being is mostly to do with everything I was just talking about with crossplay. An awful lot of PC users drop into ground war because they can just be sort of set up there with their sniper rifles and be able to pick you off at incredible distance. And also, even if they're not playing at distance, they can just snap to you with their mouse, even at close range, and just get the beat on you, plus everything else about sort of being able to see you first and react to you quicker and all of this other kind of stuff. So ground war for me is just something I find a no-no. The other thing I really hate about ground war is you can't mitigate that. You can't turn off crossplay and still be able to play ground war. And to me, that's Infinity Ward admitting that the reach of their game isn't far enough. They want ground war to be this kind of 65 versus 65 or 100 v 100 type gaming experience on enormous maps. But yet they don't have the courage to be able to think that they can get 100 v 100 in an Xbox only environment or a PlayStation only environment, and instead they insist that you have crossplay switched on. And to me, that's just an admission of failure and proof that they've just completely got it wrong. Now, the next thing that this brings me on to is the challenges. And there are so many different layers of challenges in this game, but the difficulty level has just been completely messed up. So when you look at things like the camo challenges, in previous COD games, then you'd have things like in World War II, where you had to get 100 headshots with a weapon, and then that would unlock 6 other challenges, and they would be things like get 5 long shots or 10 long shots, or get 5 backfire medals, or get 5 kills without dying 5 times, stuff like that. It's challenging, but it's doable. And with the new game, it's like that's just been classified as being too easy. And so you look at the camo challenges now, and things like getting 100 headshots is just kind of one of then 10 or so different challenges that you have to complete. And to get through all of this, again, I mean, a lot of this stuff is not terribly difficult to do, but it's just so time consuming. And when you combine that with the fact that the maps aren't exactly conducive to this, because they're so big, you get so much camping going on, that the kill level that you get per game is not terribly high. So if you're trying to achieve camo challenges where they've based it very much on volume, then you're stuffed. It's going to take you years and years and years to unlock Damascus camo, because you've got 39 weapons that you need to get through all of these challenges on, and it's just ludicrous. Then you take a look at things like the missions and the challenges. Now, the missions is the one thing I do think that they've got right, so I'm not going to dwell on that, but I think the combination of difficulty level mixed against the fact that you can chop and change between the missions, I think a lot of that is really nicely done, so I commend them for that. But the daily challenges are insane. And so you look at the daily challenges in prior COD games, get 35 kills with an SMG, or get 5 kills with a shotgun or something like that to then get a loot box or get some credits. It's it's all doable, fun stuff. Whereas the challenges in Modern Warfare are just enormous. And if you are a casual gamer, which I would actually classify as being the core gamer, to be honest, because I think most people probably only get a chance to play for an hour per day if they're lucky, and probably less than that. But of course, Infinity will classify those as casual gamers. So the game is biased against them. It's incredibly hard to achieve the daily challenges in Modern Warfare. Now, I know they've made strides to try to address that in the last couple of weeks, and I hope they continue to. But it's just crazy as it is. And then when you kind of add the icing on the cake, which is the whole battle pass system combined with the officer ranks. I mean, the officer ranks are crazy. I just don't even bother even looking at them now. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the battle pass system, you just have this enormous ribbon of challenges to unlock stuff. And sure, you can use COD points to accelerate this and kind of sort of buy your way through getting the stuff, but because they've given you the ability to do that, a lot of these are just meaningless, and so the whole thing just loses so much value, and I absolutely hate it. Okay, so then we get onto the subject of prestiging and generally sort of progression in the game. Now, coming from like Call of Duty World War II and Modern Warfare Remastered and the traditional COD titles, I was very used to the prestiging system, and it was really neat. So you got to level 55, and then you would hit prestige, and then all your level stuff would get reset. You'd have to effectively start from scratch again and work your way back up. But your level would keep on increasing right up to the way until you got to level 1000. Now with the new system, you get to level 55, well actually level 56, And then you get the officer levels unlocked. And that unlocks this set of 100 challenges that you have to complete within what they refer to as a season. Now, we don't know how long a season's going to be right now, but if we assume it's something like 5 or 6 weeks, then you've got to get through these 100 challenges in that time. And through that time, your level will increase along the way. So you can get to a maximum of 155 or 156, I think it is, on the on your actual levels. Now, the two things that I really hate about this is that these challenges actually give you absolutely nothing. They just give you these little emblems, and then the emblem in some way sort of represents the fact of, oh, aren't you so great in this particular season? And ultimately, if you unlock everything, then you get this animated emblem, which is meant to be so difficult to get and give you loads of prestige and stuff. But the thing is, it gives you nothing. It gives you absolutely nothing. And the thing that I also really, really hate about it, and what we discovered when Season 1 came out, is that as you get to a new season, your level resets. And now I was assuming that when you think through, okay, there's 100 levels per season that you got to get through, and then they're looking at the lifetime of the game to be approximately a bit over a year because they've got another game coming out next year. So if you have kind of 10 seasons or so through that, and you're having 100 levels per season for people to attack, people could get up to a level 1000 in total. And that's a reasonable aspiration. And I was thinking, yeah, so it's not actually that much different. I was kind of looking forward to it. When I saw the level reset, that kind of changes the game entirely. And suddenly, not only does it get frustrating that you just see your level reset back down to 56 every time a new season starts, but also when you enter into a game, you have absolutely no idea at all how good the opposition is. And when you combine that with the fact that there is no skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty, it's purely based on your ping distance from other players to try to give you a good gameplay experience. It's just nonsense, and you'll just enter a game and you'll just get absolutely creamed. So everyone was complaining about this, so Infinity Ward then went back and they thought, right, okay, people have been complaining about the challenges being too hard, they've been complaining about leveling up being too hard and stuff like this. So then they go ahead and they introduce the map Shoot House. And Shoot House is brilliant. I mean, to give you an example, when I was trying to get gold on the AUG SMG, then it basically took me 3 weeks to do it. And the reason was that on most of the maps, you go through, they're very complex, the maps, there's lots and lots of different lines of sight, and so it's much more favourable to a camping kind of style of gameplay. Now, the people who complain saying that it's too much focused on camping, that I do disagree with. I was watching a video the other day where a guy, he was very, very entertaining guy, makes great videos. He was basically saying that what he liked to do was learn the maps, learn the spawn points, and basically when he knew a spawn point was going to flip, he would go and rush the new spawn point and just annihilate everyone spawning there and just get tons of kills. And his big complaint was now he's putting the effort to learn the maps and he knows where the spawn points are going to appear, but now as he's rushing to the spawn point, he's having to look around every corner and look behind every door and wall just in case there's someone hiding there. And then when he does get to the spawn point, it's too late, it's flipped again, and so he's not able to do his game. Now, for those kind of people, I have less sympathy. I think if you're going to play the game now, it is more mixed, it is a slower style of gameplay, but I just view that as being more accessible to a wider range of game players. So that I have less of an issue with. But the basic point here is that it was taking a very, very long time to be able to complete these challenges. So when Shoot House came along, which is a much smaller map, much more agreeable to an aggressive style of gameplay, people could get more kills more rapidly, and it made the whole challenge thing a lot more easier, a lot more able to access it. And that was brilliant. And so I got my gold AUG and was progressing along with the P90. And then we got the most recent update that included Season 1 and also brought with it the map Crash. Now, I loved Crash on the old Modern Warfare game. I used to play it on Modern Warfare Remastered a lot, and I loved it. So let's turn the clock back, and I'll show you some of the stuff that I used to love on that map. Okay, so if we go ahead and climb up this building here, then you could just come around the corner, jump over onto the lamppost, and then you could jump over and get access to the roof of this building here. And once you're up there, you've got great line of sight into the middle of the map and the helicopter. You can jump over to that balcony, you can get over onto that roof, and you've just got all of this kind of open access to so much of the map. Okay, another place I really liked is on the helicopter on the rear side of it. You could then just hop up onto the rotor blade here, get up right into the middle, and you'd get some great access across the whole map. Now, even though you are quite exposed here, you could always lie down and then you can just kind of, try to snipe people out. But it was amazing how many people just never looked up and never saw you there. Similarly, there was this place in the garage where you could just kind of pull yourself up on that beam and jump up on the car, and then you got access to this area in the roof here of the garage, and you could just kind of position yourself in the corner, and you just had a great opportunity then just to pick people off as they came into the garage from either of the two doors. And probably my favourite one is this one here, where you can climb up the side of the 3-story building, and when you get to the top, you can kind of position yourself on the back edge of the ladder there, and then you can do this kind of Hail Mary strafe jump there and get onto the little ledge in front, and you've got an amazing view over the map at that point. And similarly, if you look behind you, you can just kind of be picking people off as they're coming through the door onto that top level of the 3-story, and it's just a great place to be. And on the subject of the 3-story building, if you come up from the inside and you come up through that escape hatch there, what you can see is this channel here is completely open. So if you do get followed or you do see someone up here, then you can just kind of sort of run around it, catch up with them, sneak up on them, do what you like. Now let's compare and contrast with the new Modern Warfare. Okay, so we come around the corner here and we head up the ladder, and then we should be able to jump over to our lamppost, except there's no lamppost. And there's no aircon units on that side of the building. So you just now have no way of getting over to the roof of that building anymore. But that's okay, there's the other spot on the helicopter, right? So let's jump over there, and then we find out, no, there is no rear rotor anymore. There is no hiding spot just in the middle of them. All there is this burning massive fire. It's just terrible how they've neutered this map. Even in the garage, they've taken away the edges of the T-bars there, so you can't jump up, you can't get on top of that car and therefore into the roof. And the really frustrating part of this is that if you actually look up in the corner, all of that part of the map is still there. The stuff that you can get on and stuff, the place where you can hide is still there, but they've just taken away your ability to get to it. Now, as for the big leap, first off, they've made it so difficult just to get on this ladder in the first place. I always find I've got to jump on top of the fence opposite and then jump over and I can get to it. But even when you do get to the top and you get on top of the ladder there, you look over, they've removed any visibility of the ledge and the balcony at the far end. So if you try to make that jump, it's only ever going to end in one way. Now, with the 3-story building, one other thing they've done here is if you go around the back of that fire escape bit, they've blocked off this other channel. And so what that means is there's only 2 entries into here, up that fire escapey bit or up the ladder at the side. So if someone's kind of just camping behind that staircase, then no matter which way you come in, as long as they're quick enough on the trigger, they can pick you off every single time. And for some reason they've added this plant pot so you can look over that roof. So it's a real shame to me that they've taken some of these facilities away from Crash. Now, I get the argument that some of what I've pointed out here was kind of ideal for a camping gaming style, and it facilitated that, and so maybe they are trying to encourage a more aggressive style. But I don't think they're achieving it, and it's just kind of taking away some of that nostalgia factor that I used to feel for these maps. Now, the last thing that's really disappointing with Modern Warfare as it stands is the amount of bugs in the game. I mean, just there, it was meant to show me the score I got at the end of the game, and it just jump straight past it. And here there's absolutely no background at all when it's going through the menu system, and then it finally appears, and it's just so rubbish. And then even in gameplay where you have situations like you're just shooting someone and then you have to reload afterwards, someone else appears, and so you kind of hit your aim down sight button and it interrupts the reload, and then you pull the trigger and suddenly nothing happens because it just forces you to reload again, and that reload starts from the beginning, and it's a really lengthy process. Similarly, time to kill is so variable in this game. You could be at the other side of the map in Shoot House and go to shoot someone with an SMG, and you'll get them in 3 shots, and then you'll see someone else and you'll try the same thing and it will take 6 shots this time, and this inconsistency completely drives me up the wall. Now, is it meaning that I'm not enjoying the game? Well, no, not really. It's affecting my enjoyment of the game, but it's not killing it off entirely. But does it mean that I'll be a lot more wary about buying a new Call of Duty title in the future? Absolutely. If this is the quality of the product that they're putting out now, if they're rushing stuff to market just because in this case, they want to hit the Christmas market. This game was not ready for release. It was just too buggy. There was too much wrong with it. And they really need to get on top of that, because otherwise they are going to kill the franchise as an entirety. But anyway, that's all of my gripes, everybody. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I know it's been quite a negative one, but if you have your own views on anything that I've brought up here, please leave it in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you want to hear more, then please do subscribe and then hit the bell for notifications of all of my future Call of Duty Modern Warfare videos. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will catch you again next time.